Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be going over the NBA slate on DraftKings and Yahoo for Monday, March the 18th. We got 9 games for Monday, 9-game NBA slate. I'm going to go through each position, talk about some of the guys that stand out to me on this 9-gamer. We'll work our way through the player pool, talk about the injuries, just talk about the guys I like at each position. And of course, I will give my 5 plays for DraftKings and 5 plays for Yahoo. These are 5 players that I do specifically like for each site. Before we do get started though, guys, I would appreciate it if you would drop a like on the video, and if you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, so that way you don't miss out on any of my new uploads. Let's go ahead and look at point guard today. Russell Westbrook is out today, so that's a key injury at the top of this position. He is going to be suspended, not going to play because he picked up his 16th technical foul or something like that. So suspended for this game. That's going to open up some value with a guy like Dennis Schroeder, who we'll talk about when we get down there. But at the top of this position, you have Steph Curry, 9,300. Not really interested in Curry today. It looks like Kevin Durant is going to play, and that's enough of a guy coming back to where I don't want to play Curry. When this team's fully healthy, these guys are just not core targets for me, especially on a 9-game slate. With Curry being priced up because of Durant being out the past few games, now that Durant is expected to be back, I really don't have much interest in Curry. The guy that I really like if you're paying up is most likely Damian Lillard. It's a tough matchup for Damian Lillard, but with CJ McCollum out for this game, Damian Lillard going to take on a heavier workload. I imagine he plays big minutes here if this game is competitive. Like I said, not a good matchup. Pacers play really good team defense. They don't really play at a fast pace, but Lillard without McCollum is hard to ignore, especially now that he's still 9K. It's not like they jacked up his price or anything. Still 9K on DraftKings. Don't mind me some Damian Lillard. Devin Booker, I think at 8,500 is in play if Tyler Johnson is out. Devin Booker takes on more of a point guard role when Tyler Johnson's out. Johnson's questionable right now. So Booker and Lillard, maybe some Doncic as well. Probably the 3 guys I would look to if you're paying up here. But it's really hard to ignore the mid-range and the value that we have here. This mid-range, Elfrid Payton's price has got jacked up. He's now up to 7,500 on DraftKings. Pretty expensive, but obviously he's worth this price tag. He's just been incredible these last 4 games. 4 straight triple-doubles. 51, 57, 59, and 61 DraftKings points. 7,500 feels like a lot to pay for Elfrid Payton, but without Jrue Holiday, he's been so productive. Like I said, 4 straight triple-doubles. I wouldn't be surprised if he makes it a 5th straight. Payton does have upside in all categories. He can grab rebounds, he can get assists, he can score as well. So even with the price jacking up, I still don't mind Elfrid Payton today at 7,500. I think he should probably be around the same prices like Mitchell or Booker. He should probably be in that 8K range. So Elfrid Payton at 7,500, I do still like today. But it's hard to ignore a guy like Dennis Schroeder, who's probably going to be the most popular play on the slate. But with Russell Westbrook out, Dennis Schroeder most likely will grab the start here and is probably going to be looking at some big minutes. When I think Westbrook was out like the beginning of the year when they played the Warriors, and I know Dennis Schroeder had like a really big game, had like 45, 46 fantasy points, like very first game of the year. He was pretty popular that day. He's going to be popular today. DraftKings did not adjust his price for Westbrook being out. He's only 5,100. With Westbrook being out, Schroeder should be like close to 7K. He should be like 65, 6,600. So Dennis Schroeder is going to play a ton of minutes here. No Westbrook. He's probably going to play about 34 to 36 minutes. He's going to be the starting point guard. Him and Paul George are going to do a lot of the heavy lifting for this Thunder team tonight. So really like Dennis Schroeder. Hard to ignore. Easily one of the best plays on the slate, especially points per dollar wise. But now looking at point guard for value plays, depending on how some injuries go, if Justice Winslow is out, I think Goran Dragic at 4,600 makes some sense. If Winslow is out, if Dennis Smith Jr. remains out, you have Emmanuel Mudiay at 4,800, who I don't mind. Those are 2 value plays you could possibly consider here. If Kyle Lowry sits, we saw Jeremy Lin start for Lowry on Sunday, but Fred VanVleet was more productive and actually started the second half over Jeremy Lin. So Fred VanVleet at 4K, he did play limited minutes supposedly on Sunday, but if he's not limited, even if he's limited to like 25, 26 minutes, Fred VanVleet at 4K could be a value if we get Kyle Lowry out again. But that's where I'm really looking to a point guard, maybe some DeAnthony Melton if Tyler Johnson sits again. It's going to be interesting to see who the Trailblazers decide to start in place of CJ McCollum. It could be Seth Curry, 3,400. We could see him start alongside Damian Lillard. I kind of would be surprised if it was him, but Seth Curry, if he starts for McCollum, 3,400 could be a value play. But let's go ahead and move on to shooting guard now. At this position, I'm not really interested in the top here. Bradley Beal, I know, has been spectacular this year, and especially as of late, he's been incredible, giving you such a high floor. But this is a really tough spot for Bradley Beal. Matchup with the Jazz, he's 9,400 still. And it's hard for me to play Bradley Beal over a guy like Paul George, who's only 300 more. Paul George should not be 9,700 today with Russell Westbrook out. So Paul George is really going to be the guy that I'm trying to pay up for. So I'm not really looking to shooting guard. I forgot to go over to Yahoo, but I do like Dennis Schroeder on Yahoo at $22. He's going to be a core play for me on both sides. Forgot to do that. But now back to shooting guard. Like I said earlier, the guy I really like here is Devin Booker. If Tyler Johnson's out, I think Devin Booker is worth that $8,500 price tag. If we're looking to other shooting guard plays, I think Kelly Oubre at $6,500 makes some sense. If TJ is out, Oubre's been playing really well with Tyler Johnson out, been taking more shots. So he could definitely be a guy you look to. If Winslow's out, don't mind taking a shot on Josh Richardson at $5,900. You could definitely go there if you wanted to go there. Looking at other shooting guard plays, didn't mention Chris Dunn at point guard, but you could play him at $5,300. It's a really good matchup with the Suns. When the Bulls are fully healthy, Dunn's usually not a guy that I play. Like, I played a lot of them when they played the Lakers because Levine was out. When they're fully healthy, you rarely get like 40-point games from Chris Dunn, but it's such a good matchup against the Suns to where I could see him kind of spark an upside here. Chris Dunn at $5,300, not the worst play, especially when you factor in the matchup he has today. But I think that's probably it for shooting guard for me. Going to Portland, Rodney Hood could potentially start for CJ McCollum, so at $3,700, he could be a value play you consider here. But let's go ahead and move on to small forward. Definitely want to talk about the top of this position, Paul George specifically. $9,700, too cheap for Paul George with Russell Westbrook out today. I know it's not a great matchup against the Heat, a team that does play solid defense, doesn't really push the ball, kind of plays a little bit slow, but Paul George is still just so good when you take Russell Westbrook off the floor. He did do really well earlier this year against the Heat for what it's worth. Had 67 DraftKings points in 35 minutes. George's numbers with Westbrook out are just insane. He's going to play a ton of minutes if this game's competitive. You're going to get 36, 38 minutes out of Paul George if the game's closed. I feel like he gives you like a 45, 50-point floor here. And with Westbrook out, you have a 70, 80-point ceiling possibility for Paul George. So I like him a lot today. Him and Schroeder, I'm going to be pairing in a ton of lineups. They just really stand out on the slate. Pretty hard to ignore. If you want to go contrarian and play a guy like Luka Doncic for a little bit cheaper, I don't mind that, but Paul George definitely feels like the better play, the most optimal play. But Paul George is probably going to be like 50% owned, and Luka's probably going to be like 15% owned. So if you want to make that pivot in tournaments, don't mind doing that. DeMar DeRozan against the Warriors. We've seen so far this year when the Spurs are in competitive games, DeRozan and Aldridge are playing huge minutes, and I would imagine that this game is competitive. So 7,800, I do like DeMar DeRozan today. If we go over to Yahoo, I like DeRozan on Yahoo as well at 39, but it's still hard for me to play him over Paul George at 50. Paul George, Schroeder, going to be core plays for me on both sides. But now let's talk about some other small forwards we could look to. If we're going to this mid-range, if Luka sits, he is questionable. Forgot to mention that. If Luka sits today, Tim Hardaway Jr. at 5,200 could be a cheaper option you look to at small forward. And then you have the guys from Portland. I think Mo Harkless should benefit slightly from CJ McCollum being out. You do have Rodney Hood you can play at 3,700, who I don't mind. Josh Jackson could be definitely a good value here. He did play quite a bit of minutes last game against the Pelicans, 33 minutes and 37 fantasy points. He had 28 minutes against Houston the game before that. His minutes are really starting to trend up. If Tyler Johnson's out, I think we do see Josh Jackson pick up some more minutes. They'll just kind of move the lineup around to where Jackson will get into the lineup a lot more often. You'll have like Booker playing point, then you'll have Oubre at the 2, Bridges at the 3, Jackson at the 4, Melton at the 5. You'll see a lot of lineups like that when Tyler Johnson's out. So Josh Jackson could pick up a few more minutes if Johnson sits. And at 4,200, he's going to play 30 minutes. Could definitely be a value play we look to at small forward. But let's go ahead and move on to power forward now. Talk about some power forward plays. So at this position at the top here, I'm not really interested in the top options. LaMarcus Aldridge would probably be my favorite play at 8,100, but he's not going to be a core play for me. I definitely would play DeRozan over Aldridge for just 300 less. Hard for me to really have a ton of interest in the top of this position. I think the mid-range is where you can really look to. I think Blake Griffin at 7,200 against the Cavs definitely stands out. I think Lauri Markkanen at 7K against the Suns. Looks like a really good play today. I did play a decent amount of Lauri Markkanen on Sunday's slate. As I'm recording this video, that game's going on right now, so I'm not really sure how he's doing. But he's been really bad lately. His price tag has really started to drop on both sites. 7K on DraftKings, 30 on Yahoo. This is definitely a bounce back spot for Markkanen. Like I said, I know he's been bad lately. He's been shooting really poor from the field. Hasn't really been rebounding a ton either. The rebounds have been pretty low for Markkanen just the last few games. But the price tag reflects that. He's down to 7K on DraftKings. We were paying 8.2, 8.4 for this guy literally like 3 games ago. He's still playing big minutes if the game's competitive. You're going to get 34, 36 minutes out of Markkanen here. Like I said, shooting's been bad, 23%, 37%, 28%, 28% some of these games. And like I said as well, the rebounds have kind of been down lately. We're not getting double-digit rebounds a night from Markkanen like we were. But this is a spot against the Suns where we could get easily like a 30-10 game out of Markkanen. If he's shooting the ball really well, if he's grabbing rebounds, he can just give you so much upside at this price tag. So I'm going to take the risk on Lauri Markkanen. Hopefully he's low owned. I imagine if he has a bad game Sunday, he will not be owned much at all today. If he goes off Sunday, then people will probably look to him, which does scare me a bit. I want to get Markkanen low owned. But regardless, I think he's a good play, whether he's popular or not. Lauri Markkanen, 7K against the Suns, just too much upside to ignore at that price. So I like him a ton at power forward. Definitely stands out in that mid-range. Now looking at other plays, though, if we're going a little bit cheaper, I think Bam Adebayo at 5,300. It's a tough matchup for against OKC, but Adebayo is playing consistent 28, 30 minutes on a nightly basis. Whiteside's playing about 18 to 20 minutes pretty much all the time that Adebayo doesn't get. Adebayo can give you a point per minute. You could easily get 30 DraftKings points out of him, even though it's a tough matchup. So 5,300, especially on DraftKings, since you can play him at power forward and center. Bam Adebayo, I do like quite a bit if you want to go there. Value-wise, though, cheap plays. Really, the guys that stand out here are the guys I mentioned. You have Josh Jackson at 4,200, who you could play if you need a value. But I think that's it for power forward. Let's go ahead and move on to center now. So at center, I do like the top of this position. I like Rudy Gobert a ton here against the Wizards. It's a great spot for Rudy Gobert. He's 8,300 on DraftKings. Really like him on DK. On Yahoo, it's a bit tougher to play Rudy Gobert because he's 38. He is priced up quite a bit. I'm still going to have exposure to Rudy Gobert. He's still going to be in some of my Yahoo lineups. I'm not going to include him in the core just because of the guys that we have in there now. And we do want to, I do want to leave you guys with some salary if you want to build around this lineup. So not going to put Gobert on the Yahoo core, but on DraftKings I can find a way to fit him in. So I'm going to be playing some Gobert today on both sides, definitely. Just such a great matchup. This Wizards team been getting killed by bigs as of late. Really bad rebounding team. This feels like a monster game coming for Rudy Gobert. Played a lot of him against Brooklyn on Saturday night. That's when I had a really big night on Yahoo. Turned like $160 into over 5K. One of the better nights I've had in a while. Played a lot of Gobert that night. He had a massive game. 34 minutes, 52 DraftKings points, 23 and 17 with 3 blocks. We could definitely see a similar outing out of Rudy Gobert here. The matchup's just so good. So like him a ton on DK. Like him on Yahoo as well. But he's going to be in my DK core, not in the Yahoo core. Now looking at other center plays, though, there is a mid-range option. 2 mid-range options I really like at this position. DeAndre Ayton at 6,600 I think definitely stands out. Marc Gasol I want to talk about. On DraftKings, he's 6,200. I think he's a good play on DK. On Yahoo, where he's still only $22, he feels way underpriced on Yahoo. I played quite a bit of him on the early slate on Sunday. It was a matchup with the Pistons. I figured the minutes were going to be there for Gasol. With Serge Ibaka still suspended, so Ibaka's going to be suspended one more game, so he's not going to play on Monday against the Knicks. We should get about 34 to 36 minutes out of Gasol here. He played 36 minutes against Detroit Sunday. Had 35 fantasy points, almost got a triple-double, was a point and 2 assists shy of a triple-double. And then against the Lakers, only 26 minutes that game, was very productive with 33 fantasy points. I imagine Gasol probably plays about 34 to 36 minutes here, even though it's a back-to-back. Such a good matchup against the Knicks. Really like Marc Gasol at $22 on Yahoo. If you want to look elsewhere, it's 6,200 on DK. I think that's fine. If you want to try and find the salary to get up to Ayton, you could do that, but still like Gasol on both sides, preferably on Yahoo, though. And then I do want to talk about some value here. So Larry Nance, Tristan Thompson are both going to be out today. We already know that. Kevin Love is also questionable, which is definitely an injury we want to watch. If Kevin Love sits, I think Ante Zizic probably becomes one of the best values on the slate at 4K on DraftKings and at $12 on Yahoo. just really stands out here. He's going to play big minutes with no Thompson and with no Larry Nance. It's a matchup where they're going to have to play big. We're going to see Love and Zizic playing alongside each other a lot in this game if Love is able to play. If Love is out, Zizic's probably going to have to play as many minutes as he can handle. With just Thompson and Nance out these last few games, we've been getting about 32 minutes from Ante Zizic, 34, 30, and 31 minutes the last 3 games. Hasn't been insanely productive, but he has given you a solid floor of about 20 fantasy points per game, 20, 22, 20, and 24 the last 4 games. We could definitely spike an upside out of Ante Zizic here. I think the minutes are going to be there. If Love is out, that's definitely more rebounding that should go Zizic's way. And if Love is out, you could easily get a double-double and like 30 DraftKings points out of Ante Zizic. So 4K on DraftKings, especially since we're kind of searching for value. We want to pay up for these studs like PG, Gobert, and Markin. We want to pay up for these guys. I think we're going to need some value, and center definitely looks like a position you can go cheap with a guy like Zizic. I think we do get a decent game out of Zizic here, and I think he's able to return good value on his price tag. So I like him quite a bit as a value center. But I think that is it for center, guys, and I think that is it for the video. So hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. Hopefully it did help you. If you enjoyed, make sure you click that like button down below. Make sure you subscribe if you have not already. And if you do have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Or hit me up on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. I do really appreciate it. We'll see you in the next video.